Well, today, the coward punch killer of a 22-year-old Victorian man was sentenced to a minimum 6 years in jail. But for David Cassai's family, no length of time will ever be enough. And a warning, some people may find some of these images confronting.
He loved his family, his friends. No one deserves this, but David definitely didn't deserve this.
On New Year's Eve 2012, David Cassai and his mates headed out in the Victorian town of Rye to celebrate a friend's birthday. But just hours later, David was dead, and 5 of his friends injured after being ambushed by a group of locals. Dylan Closter came towards David like a boxer, throwing punches as the 22-year-old held up his hands and backed away. For David, just one punch was enough to kill, sending him tumbling backwards where he smashed his head on the pavement and fractured his skull.
I hope people start realising that it's not funny, it's not a game to ruin people's lives, and, you know, it doesn't only affect us and our family. Like, look at the amount of people that have come today.
Today, 20-year-old Dylan Closter was sentenced to just over 9 years in prison with a 6-year non-parole period.
I don't think we'll ever get justice. 6 years minimum. It'll never be enough, but it doesn't send a message of deterrence.
The judge told Closter what happened that night was entirely of your own making. Tragically, your immature, alcohol-fuelled actions have damaged so many lives, including your own.
We can't forget, especially Mum and Daddy, sister.
Today's sentencing is the latest in a long line of coward punch attacks that have left victims either dead or severely brain damaged and ruined lives forever. So how many more families will have to suffer before the message gets through? And David's mum, Caterina, joins us now. Caterina, we know you've had a horrendous day today. How are you going? How hard was it?
Extremely difficult. No more difficult than actually having to bury my son and seeing him pass away. But at least we've got a result.
It's been a long journey to this point for you, though, yeah?
Very long, 21 months, and didn't think it would come to an end, but we finally got here. It's just been excruciating, the wait, and the whole process. It's just an awful process to go through. You know, losing David was difficult enough. But the process that we had to go through to get to this stage, the legal process, is just, it just adds to the weight of it all and to the effects of it all.
Caterina, sadly on this show we seem to be reporting on one-hit punches far too often, and we're no closer to understanding why they happen. Did you learn through this process why Dylan Closter hit your son David?
I don't think we'll ever really know why he approached David, picked on David, chased David down, and threw that punch. I think they were just out, him and his friends were out to cause trouble. They knew what they were doing.
Have you spoken to Dylan or his family?
No. No. I got nothing to say to them. I don't want revenge. I just want justice for David. And, yeah, he's going to be punished ever so slightly with 6 years minimum in jail, but he'll serve his time. He'll be released and go to live his life, but we no longer have David.
Caterina, the minimum sentence for a one-punch death in Victoria goes up to 10 years from next week. Is 10 years enough of a deterrent?
10 years, I think, starts to impact on someone's life. 5 years, 6 years is really nothing. We need to get tough. We've got to start sending a message.
Caterina, for you to come out, given everything you're going through, and speak about this, it's incredibly powerful. What would be your message to any teenager, any young person who's going out, you know, this weekend? What would you say to them?
Yeah, go out, enjoy yourself, but don't get carried away. They've all got to look out for each other, and hopefully everyone comes home safe, because as a parent you want your children to go out, but you don't know if they're going to come home, and David never came home that night.
Well, Caterina, there's nothing we can say that can make this any easier for you, but thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, and, yeah, all the best.
Thanks for your time.
It's a pretty powerful and emotional story. We talk about legal deterrence in that interview then, but it's not just about that. And something I was talking about with Caterina earlier was the idea of this culture of violence in our society generally has got to change. We've got to stop violence before it occurs, not just through the legal mechanisms, but through education. So, yeah, timely reminder.
It's about mates actually stepping in, you know, and not when they're out and they're drunk, actually knowing that this behaviour's been happening before they go out, before they start drinking, and recognising that and having a chat and saying, let's pull our heads in, because it's you're right, I mean, it scares me. I've got 3 young boys and, you know, they're only a few years away probably from going out, and it's terrifying.
Bystander education is critical, whether we're talking about, you know, blokes or a culture of family violence, domestic violence, sexual assault, all of those areas. So, yeah, look out for each other.
Absolutely. We'll be back in a moment.